Hey, this is Subspace Transmissions. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Cam.
Cam, on the most recent episode of the podcast, we're taking a look at the Delta Quadrant aliens. I think kind of the coolest aliens, the ones that maybe have potential to be even more exhilarating than what we saw during the original run of Star Trek Voyager.
The Ocampa.
I said more exhilarating, Cam.
No, they were already so exhilarating. We could get them even more.
Yeah, can't wait for that follow-up in the feature film adaptation of Star Trek Voyager. But I think what it inspired us to think about a little bit more is maybe kind of the foes, the alien enemies that really stood out as having even more potential than what we necessarily saw week to week on Star Trek Voyager, because some of them would come back here or there. Others would be forgotten about, as soon as they're introduced. I'll throw it over to you. What do you would make for, one of Star Trek Voyager's best alien foes?
Yeah, I think species 8472 has to be talked about in this breath, because 8472 was so much potential. They had the opportunity to create this new addition to the franchise that could have been like the Borg. They were alien.
Iconic.
Yes, iconic. They were alien in a way we'd never seen before, in the fact that they were glowing CG creatures, but also because they were a design that they technically could never create before. And ultimately, the series kind of pisses them away in the Into the Flesh episode, where they're recreating Starfleet Academy. And I just think, when you look at the episode Prey and you look at Scorpion, the potential is there for something fearsome, and that the Voyager crew would have to work that much harder to make that sort of Star Trekian human connection with.
Yeah, did their adventures at Starfleet Academy essentially just kind of make them dopey looking?
Why did they recreate Boothby?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I think one of the best foes ever, though, has to be the Vidians. You can really understand their motivation in that they're not motivated by just being pure evil, which is kind of a frustrating thing when I watch a lot of movies and TV. It's
sure.
But they're motivated by survival. And, you can understand why they're stealing Neelix's lungs. They want to be able to harvest it for survival.
They just don't like him.
Oh, okay. And no, that's why the audience wanted to steal his lungs, so he couldn't speak anymore.
I like it to imagine all the Voyager crew were trying to take his lungs the rest of the seasons. Every time he went to sleep.
Yeah.
He woke up in a bathtub of ice every morning.
Starting with Naomi. Yeah.
Trevis.
Don't forget Flotter.
Yeah.
But so I think the Vidians, I think they fully realize their potential, though, in that we were only in the select, space that they were in for a select period of time. Mm-hmm. We had those frightening adventures with them. We brought them back when we could, an episode like Fury.
You got a great love story out of the Vidians, very unlikely love story.
You say that, but the episode Life Signs with the Doctor as well.
Yeah.
I'll say this, though, they kind of got a happy ending with regards to Think Tank, which is one featuring Jason Alexander, in that this think tank discovered a cure for the phage as well, so it all kind of worked out for them.
Yeah, they're a great species in the sense of, Voyager is a crew that's trying to survive, and here's a species driven to survive, so they really match each other very well thematically.
Yeah, I totally agree. What else is on your list here, Ken?
Well, I talked about Prey earlier. I think the Hirogen are a great example of an alien species that could be easily just considered like Predator knockoffs, and they were intended to be like Predator, but they bring a lot more dramatic weight to them. And I think when you look at characters like the one Tony Todd plays in Prey, the one who's hunting species 8472 on the ship, as well as the one played by G.G. Hertzler in Tsutkatsu.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of dramatic depth. I think of that DS9 episode, Captive Pursuit, where O'Brien befriends Tosk. And they mine a lot of very, moving drama out of this hunter-prey species idea. And I think Voyager just takes it to a really interesting next level.
I definitely think that maybe the highlight for the Hirogen storyline was when they had that kind of showdown with 8472 as well. And really, what happens when an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object?
Whoever wins, we all lose.
Thank you, Cam.
Alien versus Predator coming to you. What is it, 2006 or something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Another cool alien, I think this is a one-off alien. It's not one of these recurring ones that we saw popping up again and again, like, say, the Malon. Mm-hmm. But I would go with the Devore Imperium. Of course, this is from the episode Counterpoint, which might be, if not my favorite episode of Star Trek Voyager, it might be my top 5. But of course, they're the xenophobic, very much kind of totalitarian species that will not have anything to do with telepaths. And I think the reason why I'm actually drawn into them, obviously the character stuff going on between Janeway and the Inspector, but I would also say the fact that they seem like a fully fleshed out alien species and that you can understand their motivations even if we don't agree with them as well. And they're alluded to further down the run of Star Trek Voyager. I think there was also just kind of that dominance that they had over that area of space that they were in. I think there was potential to bring them back, and it was a bit of a bummer that we didn't get any more of that back and forth between Janeway and the Inspector. Like that, an episode like Counterpoint had really kind of laid the groundwork for.
When you think about how Voyager would often structure like its seasons or a couple seasons around these aliens they're encountering,
right?
And it doesn't make sense why that they would cut that species loose after basically an episode.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Kazon, they try to milk for 2 seasons. Like, you know, it's like you've got one that's not working. It's very clear. But one that is working, they're like, well, moving on.
So, Cam, I'm going to throw this out to you. It could be any alien out there in the Delta Quadrant, but what do you think, besides Borg, has the most potential for like kind of a cinematic villain that would, I don't know, hypothetically be in a Star Trek Voyager feature film?
Well, I mean, I just mentioned the Kazon. No, 8472 is one, I think, that has the most promise in what you could do with them. Because obviously the show did what they could with the limitations of the time. I think they're a species you could do a lot with a film budget. I mean, imagine like Andy Serkis mocapping 8472.
Sure.
That could be really impressive. I don't think they would ever go there. I don't know that there's any sort of market for 8472 films, but it would be interesting.
Okay. Well, my pick is obviously Michael McKean returning as the clown from The Thaw.
Oh, my God.